Welcome everyone to Edpuzzle Adventure. This is April 3rd, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we are going to get started. If you haven't already, go ahead and go to this website, bit.ly/edpuzzleadventure. I'm going to drop it in the chat. And you can, when you get there, you're going to sign in, find these slides, introduce yourself on the Jamboard. I'm just going to let people come in along the way. So glad you guys are joining us. And again, there's a website with all of these resources at bit.ly/edpuzzle. You'll be able to sign in, find the slides in the Jamboard there. And I'd like to introduce myself. I'm going to pause the music momentarily. All right. So my name is Hans Tolman. I'm an educator, trainer, and consultant. I've been educating for 17 years. So glad to be with you this evening and share some of the amazing things that you can do with Edpuzzle. Something that you can do is while you're learning in this session, you can share what you learn by tweeting out at #Edpuzzle. And if you want it to be for this specific session, you can select, you can do hashtag Edpuzzle Adventure. And we're going to get a quick group photo here since everyone's here. And if you feel like turning on your camera, you can. And I'm just going to get it with my phone in 3, 2, 1, and you can smile and wave if you'd like. And if you can't, that's okay. Oh, here we go. 1, 2, 3, smile. Awesome, guys. Thanks. Share my screen again and jump back in here. All right. And what I'd like to start with is ask you guys, what is your biggest challenge in education? What is that one thing that you feel like is something that you struggle with on a regular basis? And if you do have the website open and you have the Jamboard open, you can go to that website. Let me see if I can jump over there with you. You can go to the website, you can click on Jamboard, and then you're going to find our session today. And then you can just click on the Sunday, April 3rd session. And here, if you haven't already, this is where you can introduce yourself. I already see Corey. So glad to see you. Oh, Disneyland, Corey. We're Disneyland people. We're going to go there. So exciting. Kate, so happy to have you here. Thank you for joining us. Christine, welcome from Ventura. Awesome. Oh, a quiet spring break. That sounds amazing. Justine, so glad you're joining us. And if you go to this arrow at the top of your Jamboard, you can go to the next frame. And this is where you're going to post, what is your biggest challenge in education? And I see that someone is saying that they're an online teacher and they're teaching 18 classes. And the biggest challenge is time to collect resources. You're in the right place. If you haven't dropped in your challenge, you can go ahead and do that now. I'm going to move forward and I'm going to come back to checking on your challenges. But my biggest problem, biggest challenge is time. Oh my gosh, we're paid to be in the classroom for a certain amount of time, but outside of that time, I feel like it's necessary to spend time preparing lessons, grading, doing all of these things. Oh, another problem, by the way, grading. Oh my goodness. I was out of the classroom for 7 years. This is my first year back in the classroom. And I'm getting reacquainted with grading and all that entails. Wow. And then also, in case you guys didn't notice, some of the students haven't have a challenge with engagement. It's difficult to engage these kids post-pandemic and post-distance learning. And oh man, how do you keep them engaged? So the question we're asking ourselves is, how can we save time? How could we possibly automate grading? And how could we engage our students? Let me talk to you about Edpuzzle. This is when you can make any video a lesson. So what is Edpuzzle? Well, you can choose any video from YouTube. You can embed your own assessment questions, and you can track your students' progress. Super easy and powerful. And why is Edpuzzle your new best friend? Because your students can watch the video at their own pace. You can hold every student accountable, figure out who's watching and who's answering the questions. They can't skip ahead to the next part of the video until they answer the question. And you have more participation. So you can use this in your classroom. Currently, that's the majority of place where I've been using it with my 5th grade students. I use it during guided reading time, and that's a must do out of their, independent work that they're working on. And it's been great. You can also have them work on it at home to complete a lesson that they started in class, or introduce some type of class discussion. You could also use it as a review tool, since the testing is coming up pretty soon in April and May. So this could be a great tool to review some of these concepts that you've gone over during the year. And how can you view Edpuzzle? Well, you can look at it in the classic way, where the students watch the video independently, they work independently at their own pace, and that's how I like to use it, either for rotation stations or the flipped classroom. But you could also do it live mode, where you're projecting the video in front of the class, either on Zoom or in person, and then the students answer on their own device in real time. And you can have discussion synchronously. And then the different types of classes you can create are either a classic class, or an open class. And classic means your students need to log in or sign up and have an account there, or connect their Google account or their Microsoft account. And then the open class, they don't need an account. You can do things on the fly for demos, a quick practice, things that you don't need to collect data for. So back to the original challenge, how can we save time? And I want to just jump in and see if we have any other challenges. I want to give a shout out. So another big challenge we have with us today is keeping the students engaged while using the iPad. You can split their screens and try to do so in many other ways while on any app, not just Edpuzzle. Okay, trying to keep them in the same spot. And then another person said addressing learning gaps. Small district with few resources and support to help students who are behind, burnt out. Oh man, I feel you. I worked in a smaller district, and depending on where that is located, you don't have the same amount of resources as larger districts. Thank you guys for sharing those challenges. Oops. So with Edpuzzle, you can save time by using a ready-made lesson from another teacher. This is very similar of how you might use quizzes or Kahoot. You can search for lessons that have already been created, and that has been the #1 way I've used Edpuzzle, a huge time saver, because people have already put in the work. Why reinvent the wheel? But if there's a YouTube video that you like to use to teach a particular lesson or concept, you can search for any video and copy it into your content. And then for those of you who want to spice it up and take it to the next level, you can record and upload your own teaching videos. And Edpuzzle has a really cool Chrome extension that can be helpful with recording those videos. So I mentioned grading. How do we solve that problem? Well, with Edpuzzle, if you're choosing questions that have that are non-open-ended questions, those multiple choice questions will be graded and self-graded right there, and the students will get their percentage and know what they got on that on that Edpuzzle video, and that can be downloaded in a spreadsheet onto your computer and then uploaded into an SIS or a gradebook type of system. If you have an LMS, like a learning management system, like Google Classroom or Canvas, those grades will transfer over to that gradebook system, which is really amazing. So how do I get started on Edpuzzle? Well, first you're going to go to edpuzzle.com. And if you haven't signed up with this promo, I can paste this in the chat for you guys. And this will give you and me 3 free videos. I'm just going to drop this in right now. So if you haven't signed up, you can do that now. You're going to sign up as a teacher. You're going to connect to your school and department. And then they're going to take you through a tutorial to create your first video lesson. So that's how we started. And you can also set up Edpuzzle so your students can watch right from their LMS. Like we use Google Classroom and Canvas. Some of you may use Schoology, Moodle, PowerSchool, Blackboard. You can use any of those and integrate Edpuzzle into that LMS. And Justine is making a comment in the chat. She says, we use Canvas LMS and I use Edpuzzle extension through that. It automatically syncs to my PowerSchool. I did not know about the Chrome extension though, so I will check that out. Yes, it's something that I believe that's kind of new with Edpuzzle. And it's just an easy way to start recording your screen right away to create that content. And so now what I want to do is I want to give you guys some playtime to actually give you time to get on there and create an account. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a 5-minute timer to let you guys get started, get in there, sign in and play around with it. And then if you have questions, you can unmute your mic and ask out loud, or you can drop it in the chat. So I'm going to set a 5-minute timer and give you guys some time to, I'm going to let Kate back in. I'm going to give you guys some time to explore and play. So, and then towards the end of that time, I would like to show you my workflow with Edpuzzle and how it looks in my LMS. And if you have any suggestions for people that are new to Edpuzzle, like Justine she's already using it, you can drop that information in the chat too. So go ahead and take some time, and I can even leave these instructions on here just so you have that reference. I'm going to play some music. Let me know if it's too loud. And go ahead and take some time to play. So let's take about 5 minutes. Oh, wait, hang on a sec. I just looked at the time. Hold the phone. I went over my time. Let's stop it right here. So I'm going to actually end this. If you want to hang out, wait, am I jumping again? No, we have plenty of time. We have plenty of time. Never mind. Continue playtime. 5 minutes. False alarm. April Fools. I'm a little late. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video while you guys are playing. Pause recording. All right. So that's the timer for our playtime. Did you guys get enough time to play? If you didn't, let me know in the chat and we can give you guys some more time. But I'm going to move forward as if you guys have had enough time. And just so you know, when it comes to Edpuzzle I've been using Google Classroom and integrating it there. And here's my class and the assignments that we've done. And I use Edpuzzle as a must-do for my guided reading groups. So as I'm working with one group of students, the other group is doing, a series of must-do assignments. And as you can see, some students have already submitted this one. I can see who has not submitted it. And that helps me kind of give an overview of what I'm looking at, who's completed, who hasn't. And this particular Edpuzzle, I did not create. No, I did not. This was created by another user on Edpuzzle, and I was able to search for text structure. That's kind of the concept we were looking at last week. And I was able to find this YouTube video, this Edpuzzle on text structure, and it's by vocabulary. And vocabulary,
much like buildings,
is awesome.
text, especially informational and non-fiction text, have to be structurally sound, or else they'll fall over. You feel me? Yeah. Let's get it. Let's go. When you read informational text, you see the pattern and the way that it's written, oh yes. There are 5 main structures you can check.
I'm gonna pause it. Amazing, right? But each time this little guy, this little playhead gets to this little dot here, that's where either a note or something comes into play. And I wish I could jump to that. I think my computer's running a little slow. So each one of these dots represents a question, and it's locked because it thinks I'm a student. But so that's how my workflow goes. And each week we're posting these Edpuzzle assignments for my students to do independently. So just wanted to share that. And Corey says, also a big fan of the Edpuzzle originals. Yes. And I know when you have, I believe, like a paid subscription to Edpuzzle, you have access to those originals. And then others they have that sticker like hosted by Edpuzzle. Maybe that's what you're talking about, Corey. And those of you who have already been using it, if you guys have any tips for the rest of us, please drop them in the chat. So you guys had a few minutes of playtime to explore. And the question I want to kind of start ending our time with is, how spicy do you want your Edpuzzle adventure to be? And there's all sorts of levels of spice. Like if you're coming into this and you're not really sure, you're not really that comfortable with Edpuzzle, you're a beginner, well, start by just saving time and use other teachers' lessons. That's okay. Teachers have already created lessons there. And I know when anyone uses my lessons, I feel really great about it because it's not just impacting my kids and my colleagues' kids, it's impacting kids all over the country or even around the world. So don't feel bad about, using other people's content. That's why it's there. So that's if you're a beginner, keep it mild. That's your spice level. If you want to pick it up a notch, go to a medium level spice, intermediate, upload your video lessons and start automating that grading. So you can record any lesson. It can be a short mini lesson. You upload it, you add a few questions along the way, and then you're hot, you're on fire. Now, for those of you who like, oh, I know I'm hot, but I'm ready to take it up to the spice, to get on fire about Edpuzzle. Well, here's what you guys should do, maybe even tonight. Take 40 minutes of your time and get Edpuzzle certified. That's right, certified as an Edpuzzle level 1 educator in 40 minutes. It's great. I can't recommend it enough. I'm certified level 1, level 2 coach, and also certified Google Classroom with Edpuzzle. And I was able to knock that out when I was home with my sick son this last week. So if you want to take it to the spice, get on fire, check out those certifications. You won't regret it. And so if you're curious about that, like, hey, tell me more about these certifications, I'm just gonna drop this link in the chat for you. But they have certifications on becoming an Edpuzzle coach, or a specific certification for flipped learning, or just using Google tools integrated with Edpuzzle, or tech integration, or even project-based learning, PBL. So these are all things that you can get certified in. So here's my question for you guys, and this is our last Jamboard question. How will you use Edpuzzle? How are you going to use this? Go ahead and take about a minute or so to share how are you going to use Edpuzzle with your students or in your organization. So I'm going to give you guys some time to do that while we listen to some music. And so if you're not already in there, you can jump in on the Jamboard. No, I'm going to go ahead and paste that into the chat just so you guys have easy access in case you close the tab. So just paste it in the Jamboard link. How are you going to use Edpuzzle? For my hot and spicy users, how have you been using it? And what are some tricks or tips that you can give us? Drop it in on the Jamboard. I'm going to jump over to that Jamboard right now. Oh, someone's sharing. This person says, I want to create more of my own lessons. Here, let me just try this over. I want to create more of my own lessons, not YouTube based. Those sometimes are more time consuming, but will last me a longer time for my asynchronous class. I totally hear you. I'm going to turn off the music. So yes, I'm on the same exact page as you. It's time for me to spice up my own lessons and start recording myself and uploading those onto Edpuzzle and being more specific to my students and their needs and the content and the comprehension questions that are valuable to our classrooms and our organization. So that's also a challenge for me. And if you're thinking, but wait a second, Hans, I thought you said I was going to say time. Hold your horses, Mr. or Mrs. It will be time up front, just like any developing lessons is. But in the future, you will have that Edpuzzle lesson ready to go for next year. That's what I'm looking at this year as. Like, I feel like a first-year teacher. We are working so hard to build out this 5th grade curriculum and our lessons and our structures, but we're going to have that all next year ready to go, and it's going to make things so much easier. And then someone else says, I record my math lessons and have my students watch. I pull small groups. This is amazing. It helps me to assess easily and gives me more time to meet with my students. This is incredible because it's that element of time. Like, how do you get more time? You flip it. Instead of you being in front of the class and everyone has to watch you at the same time in the same place, you record that lesson, that 5 or 7 minute lesson beforehand, post it to your LMS, have your kids watch that lesson, taking notes in math while you're pulling back the kids. It's almost like you're cloning yourself. Talk about the future. Awesome, love it. And then someone says, we don't have grammar curriculum, so I use the Edpuzzle's originals to teach grammar. That's such a great idea. We're kind of in the same boat with our curriculum. There's not a specific grammar curriculum. So how do you fill in those gaps? Edpuzzle, easy. Someone else said, I've been using Edpuzzle for a quick review of grammar points or cultural quickies to highlight foods or traditions created by other teachers. Spending time creating my own is on my summer to-do list. Yes. Right now, we got a lot on our plates. This may be a summer project, which is totally understandable. You got to go with what you're comfortable with. Thank you guys so much for sharing these ideas. This is awesome. So we had some time to play. you're thinking about what spice level you want your Edpuzzle journey to be. And we've talked about how will you use Edpuzzle. I'm going to open up for questions, or if you have more ideas that you would like to share, feel free to drop it in the chat, or you can even unmute your mic. We don't have a ton of people here, so if you're comfortable with that, you can unmute your mic. Would anyone like to share? I'm just going to put in some wait time here. All right, no worries. So if you guys are willing, this is my first time presenting Edpuzzle. This is my very first presentation. I'm so excited about it. But I know I'm missing the mark here, but I'm just not sure where. And this is where you guys can really help me make this training better, because I'm going to do the same training tomorrow and on Tuesday and on Thursday this week. And if I'm doing something wrong, or if something's distracting, or if something just doesn't feel right, please don't put those other teachers through it. Let me know, because I'm going to read each of your ideas and see if I can make tweaks to this presentation and make it even better. So if you guys wouldn't mind, my friend was recommending that I post my Venmo QR code for donations. Like, if I was playing guitar, you had my guitar case out, you can drop in $1 or whatever. But I decided no. Look, if you guys are appreciative of this training, the best thing you can give me is your feedback, because that's going to help me get better as a trainer. So if there's no other questions, guys, why not end the training early? It's our time. We can do what we want. So thank you guys so much for coming. I'm going to be hanging out here if you guys want to hang out, if you have questions or ideas. But thank you so much for coming. And if you want to join in tomorrow, you can check it out, and you can come back. You can come back as many times as you want. Thank you so much, Kate. Glad you were able to join us. And Justine, thank you. Oh, we have someone talking. If you want to ask a question, feel free to unmute.
Heinz, it sounds like you're dropping in and out.
Oh, thank you for letting me know. How is my audio now?
Seeing what I'm
You're kind of dropping in
it
and
seems like
out.
it's going down. Maybe that could be my Wi-Fi. Let me get closer to my box.
Okay.
Oh no,
Corey,
somebody else said yes, a little glitchy. Somebody else
Okay.
said the same thing.
Gotcha. Okay, so Corey is experiencing it too. Was that the whole time, Corey? Was I dropping in and out the whole time? Okay. Thank you, Christine. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, this is feedback that's helpful. I'm going to let my wife know, honey, it's time for me to get a new laptop. I'm gonna use your guys' data to drive
East
that
Coast
decision.
time.
Awesome.
Hello,
Thank
Heinz.
you. Yes.
Did I come in late because I'm on East Coast time?
Yes, you did, Paul. Yeah, you came in a bit late. So I want to say East Coast is like 3 hours ahead of us. So 4:30 our time would be possibly 7:30 your time, maybe.
Right. Okay.
I'm
So
sorry
I guess
about
I
that.
have to come in tomorrow. I got a message saying that. Is that true?
Ask that question again, Paul. Sorry, you broke up a little there.
I got a message saying that the session was going to be canceled